if you are going the Libertarian Party route, you're not really following Ron Paul, are you? You're not really modeling yourself after Ron Paul, because you would know nothing about Ron Paul had he been running as a libertarian. The reason Ron Paul was able to wake people up was because he was able to get the Republican stage. They have the platform. So what he did was he hijacked the Republican platform. Now, if Dave Smith and others were doing that, were going that route, and they were saying, look, we know that we can't win as Republicans, okay? But the Republicans have a gigantic platform. And if we follow Ron Paul's model, maybe even with Ron Paul's help, and the other liberty-minded people in the Republican Party, we can at least hijack the platform and then maybe get on to be saying these things within the Republican Party. We can be the libertarian wing, and they tried this with the Freedom Caucus or whatever. The libertarian wing, right? And we find that somebody who's charismatic enough or whatever, and we go that route. If they were doing that, I would say you're on a path to success. Why would I say that? I would say that because that path has been walked by someone who was deeply influential to every libertarian I know. You're not doing that. You're not embodying even the archetype and the model that you're claiming to follow. So you cannot utilize and say, well, Ron Paul did it. Okay, well, are you doing anything that Ron Paul did? Are you modeling yourself after him in any way? No.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just the message. It's not just the content of the message.
Right,
you see.
right.
That's actually the least important thing is what Ron Paul said. The most important thing was that he was on that stage and he was fearless. It wouldn't have mattered what he said. He could have said literally anything and he would have gotten people's attention in the same way. He spoke from principle, from his heart, with no fear, on one of the biggest and what should be a scariest stage. And he's a little man. Yeah. With a weird little voice. But yet the heart of a lion. And it was his heart, not his message. The message was pure and righteous. And that was why he was able to have that heart. He knew he was right. That's what people got. That's not what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah. That is that feeling, that undeniable feeling when you receive that transmission, you get that direct experience, and that element of mystical time comes back in, and it brings you into this sort of, divine moment, and you are moved by something that you might not be able to fully articulate or explain, but I want to be around that energy. Yes. Yeah. And that was, and it was they had the Ron Paul revolution things, and then they would switch it around so that it said love. And very weird, right? Because it's not like Ron Paul is not some like flower child getting up talking about peace and love. But those who behave in righteousness are always seen to be acting out of love, because he risked a lot. Yeah. He risked a lot. There was no guarantee that him getting up there and bucking the status quo and going against and attacking members of his own party who were going to be the nominee, by the way, there was no guarantee that wasn't the end of his political career. Every time he stepped on that stage, that was a real risk. That was the end of something he had dedicated his life to, that it was going to turn on him. It was not a foregone conclusion that he was going to have the impact that he did, but he chose to act anyway because it was the righteous thing to do. And that is what moved me, and that is what moved you, and that is what moved Dave. Not the words coming out of his mouth, the conviction of his character is what moved us. Yeah, hell yeah, man. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I remember the moment watching one of the debates, and I forget exactly which one, because like you said, it wasn't about necessarily what he said, but the memory for me is, holy shit,
this guy is breaking the matrix right now.
Yes.
And that like there's a veil just like lifted between like under my eyes, and I was like, I see the light, And actually, I told Mark Claire I had an ayahuasca experience where Ron Paul showed up. It was great. It was great
because that don't like we would laugh at that, right? But Ron Paul is the pattern of the prophet.
Yeah.
Like if you read the Old Testament prophets, my spiritual father, we were having a conversation and he said, you need to go and read Amos, short chapter. Had never read it in my life, right? I haven't read all the prophets, short prophet chapter. And there's the key section in there is, he goes and he's given these prophecies and he goes and the chief priest is like, go back to where you're from and basically make your bread there. He thinks that this guy is like being a prophet for money, right? So it's like, yeah, go over there and, just get out of here because they've erected a golden calf. And he says that Israel is about to be destroyed. And he says, I didn't want to be a prophet. I'm a shepherd. I was very happy to be tending to my sheep. I was very happy to just be living the pastoral life that I was living, but I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I have no desire to be here, but I've been called here and I'm not going to deny the call. And that was what you felt from Ron Paul. Does Ron Paul really want to be doing this? You get the feeling constantly that he wishes people would just wake the hell up so he could just get a rest. Right. So he could rest. And that comes through. So when I see these people who want to be in the Libertarian Party, who want to be doing all of these things, who want to be taking over the LP, who want to be establishing some fringe of a fringe side group that believes in this, and this, and that's the best way to run this organization that will never win any elections. I see people who are not called by God. I see people who are not called by their principles. I see people who are called by their narcissism. That's what I see. And look, people could call me out, right? It's not like I have not lived my own life in some ways. And it's not like you can't look back through my history when I have done things in a self-serving manner. And it's not like I don't fail at that either. Call me out. If you see me doing that, if that's how my behavior is, anybody listening or watching or whatever, call me out. I'm not somebody special. I'm no saint, but I am going to call it like I see it. Mm-hmm. And I certainly am trying, and I certainly am trying to be aware, and I try to catch myself. And it's one of the things that I've tried to do in my spiritual practice is to keep that awareness and the thankfulness and to say, who am I serving right now?
Yeah. Not like I've gotten any direct communication from anybody, about the things we're talking about, that these are the things that they're thinking or whatever. But I'm just kind of like, making some just thinking about maybe some reasons why or something, because I don't necessarily think it's true. I mean, Dave, if you're listening, you have to go back to the foundation, be like Ron Paul, start delivering babies. How about that? How about we go there? I want to see Dave Smith deliver 100 babies.
Hold on. That's actually kind of a big deal.
Yeah,
right.
Totally. Yeah.
It's actually a kind of a big formative deal. So, I can't separate where I am now from the journey that I've taken, for better or worse, right? And the things that have informed me about the life that I've lived, the people that I've met, the mistakes that I've made, the things that I've gotten right, the aspects of life that I have been privy to that many people are not privy to. Most people are not privy to life coming into this world and seeing brand new life as a regular part of their life and being responsible for the healthy delivery. Childbirth is a dangerous time for woman and child. Throughout our history, that has been a moment of death. Death is as close as
new life is as close as death in that moment. We have forgotten this, but this is the nature of that moment. It is the worlds are, they are fused together. The spirit world and the afterlife and this world are fused together in that moment for both mother, child, and everybody else around. It is a spiritual moment.
Yeah.
And if you want to know from where can Ron Paul have such righteousness? He's brought children into this world. If you do that and you are a righteous man, you feel a responsibility to make the world a place for those children. And you feel a deep sense of guilt if you have not.
Yeah.
So to see it form, of course that formed him. Of course, feeling a responsibility for bringing life into this world is going to translate into a responsibility to make the world a better place. Of course it does. And so, no, you haven't delivered. Yes, you're right. That's a good place to start. Instead of trying to take over some political party, go do something where you're responsible for the lives of others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In the real world where life is and death are on the line, go be responsible. Maybe then I will think that you are qualified.
Yeah.
To have some political power of any kind.
Yeah. Well, thanks for taking that and running with it, because I was just joking, but you made a great point here, because it's leading me to think about just this sort of insulated world, this sort of insulated materialist world where, especially now, everything is sort of this far away abstraction.